David Slick. I've been a software and quality leader for quite a while now. And as such, like many of us spend a lot of time thinking about process improvement as that directly relates to improving quality. I came across, as Phil mentioned, James Clear's Atomic Habits several years ago, and was struck by some of the parallels that hit me while I was reading it, as how we can apply some of the same principles that he talks about to implementing process within the software context. So share that idea with you. Hopefully it's helpful. So Atomic Habits, this is the book that James Clear wrote, is a really practical guide to how to form habits, how to stop doing habits you don't want to do. He goes into a lot of really practical steps of how they're formed and how you can get better 1% every day. That's one of his big things. Tiny changes add up over time. As agilists, for many of us, that should sound familiar. So this is how he defines the habit. Habit is defined by this habit loop. It starts with a cue, which is the trigger that starts the loop, like a time of day or location. The craving, which is a motivation behind the habit or desire to achieve an outcome. The response, the actual behavior to be taken. And then the reward that you get. That is the benefit or satisfaction received that reinforces that habit loop. So, example we're all familiar with, being phone addicts. Your phone buzzes, get that notification, you want to know. So there's your cue. And then the craving is you want to know what's on the other side of that, right? So you pick up your phone, that's the response. You look at it, you get rewarded with a cat gif. Reinforces that loop. So Clear goes on to talk about the 4 laws of behavior change based on that loop that can be used to impact habit formation. So the first is to make it obvious. So this increases the likelihood of triggering the cue. Make it attractive, law number 2, to increase the craving. Make it easy to increase the response. And make it satisfying to increase the likelihood of repeating that behavior. And there are many parallels, but we'll focus for tonight, given we only have 8 minutes, to talk about making it obvious and making it easy. All right, so make it obvious. One of the techniques used that Clear defines is called habit stacking. This one really struck me as super useful. This is where you take an existing habit and stack a new habit on top of it. Right? You've got something really well ingrained, or in a business context, a process that we're doing that's really well ingrained, right? And we can hook into that and create a new habit. The other is to change your environment. So we're more likely to act on a cue that's really obvious to us. So, for example, this is a picture of my bedside table. I had to start taking a new medication at night, right before bed, not at a certain time necessarily, just right before I went to sleep. So I couldn't really do an alarm. So I realized, okay, I need to somehow stack this with my bedtime routine. Well, I read a book right before bed. So I changed my environment, put that pill bottle right on top of the book, and then it's stacked with my nightly routine. Okay, make it easy. This is the 3rd law to habit change. We naturally follow the path of least resistance. We all experience this. In order to leverage this law, right? Make less friction for the behaviors you want and add more friction for the behaviors you don't want. A couple of techniques that Clear outlines are automation. We're all familiar with this, to remove manual effort that creates friction, and then prime the environment to set the stage, doing that work up front to ease future action. So I've got an image here of running gear, workout gear, right? You want to start a new workout habit, put that stuff right by the door, ready to go, so that it's set up the night before you get up. So first thing in the morning, you've got all your gear, no excuses. Okay, so how does this apply to organizational process change? We have a number of existing ceremonies and processes we do without fail at a regular cadence. These can easily be leveraged to introduce new processes to help ensure success and at least getting executed. And we commonly use templates, automation, and integration to help reduce friction. So some specific examples here. So stack with meetings. We have regular ceremonies like stand-up meetings in order to improve quality and frequency of code reviews or design reviews. You can stack that as a group review at the end of your stand-up. So I had a former colleague that did this to great effect with code reviews. He needed to teach his team how to do better at code reviews. He needed to build that habit with the team. So they all got together right at the end of the stand-up and did code reviews, and it actually became fun to the team. They enjoyed it. Another team I was on needed to do better with design reviews. So they held space for design review at the end of their stand-up, eliminate another meeting. They didn't necessarily do it every day, but they offered it up. And if there was one, they had all the people there, made sure that they made time for it. Tool integrations. We're often in our ALM tools, moving stories along. One of my teams was required to start time tracking at a higher fidelity level, not a task that anyone relishes. It's easy to forget. You get to the end of the week or even the next week and you get a nasty gram from your boss, you forgot to do it. And so you try to remember what you did that week, right? It's not the best. So one easy solution is to stack that with an integration right within your regular behavior in the ALM tool. So that's what we did. We had an integration that brought two systems together while you're in the tool, put in your time tracking while you're doing your update. Other examples, templates and checklists, two tools that testers like to use a lot. I've seen this to put to great effect as well. Task templates on stories, so that you have a process that you work through for every story. The task template's there, primed, ready to go. You don't need to think about it. So if you need to update that process at all, you just update your template. Or checklists. We had one team I was on had a secure code review process that they needed to make sure was done every time. We needed to make it very auditable. So put that secure code review checklist right in that secure code review task. It's there all the time. Helped with our audits. And then better yet, automate that code review with static analysis tool. And then last example here is a little bit bigger one, release cadence even. So I was on a team I came into, was doing a 6-week release cycle, 2 weeks of dev, another 2 weeks of dev, and then a 2-week test cycle, release, rinse and repeat. So little mini waterfalls, right? A lot of us have probably experienced this and the dysfunction that comes along with that. So inevitably, there would be bugs that needed to be fixed, and the customers couldn't wait 6 weeks for the next cycle. So there were hot fixes that were going out every week. All right, well, we want to break out of this dysfunctional cycle. We're already doing releases every single week. So why can't we just stack a full release on top of that, right? We convinced ourselves that this was okay to do, small number of changes that was focused. Why don't we just focus the whole team on doing smaller number of changes, features or bugs or whatever, right? And do it every release, every week. Once we realized that, it was really empowering for the team. And yeah, there were other changes that needed to be made around the testing process, but it was a matter of months. And we had that weekly release cycle. So that's what I have today. I hope, those examples aren't, blockbusters, right? Many of us have probably seen those, but I think the point is to think about how habit formation works, how our minds work to form these new habits, and how we might be able to use those to leverage in process improvement. So hopefully that sparks some ideas for you and is helpful for you today. Thanks.